WDRS Talk is made possible by the Anchor app. If you've never heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's absolutely free and allows you to make your own podcast on your phone or on your computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast on platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can make money from your podcast as well without a minimum membership. It's all you need to make a podcast in one place. So, go and download your Anchor app for free, or you can go to anchor.fm to get started today.
You're listening to the Wolf's Den Radio Show. Talk.
Hey, sisters and brothers, this is WDRS Talk, the Wolf's Den Radio Show Talk, and I am your host and your brother from another mother, and spreading cosmic love to everywhere I go. This is Wolf Himora, and thank you very much for joining me for another great episode here on the Talk, WDRS Talk, not the Talk. There's a TV program for that. I don't want to get anyway. WDRS Talk, people. Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you very much for your support. It's going to be a great episode 29. And we're going to have a very interesting guest for you a little later on. But before we do, I got to get rid of some business and my thoughts on some current events. So please, if you are listening on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and please like the episode, because all of those things, they help a lot with the analytics on the internet and algorithms and all of that juicy stuff that goes on the internet that we have known nothing about. But anyway, it helps. And if you're listening on Spotify, do the same thing. Please give it a follow, as well as Apple Podcasts. And if you want to show your support monetarily, please go to the anchor.fm website or the Anchor app, and you can actually make a donation to the show. Just go to the WDRS Talk page, and there is a support button over there. And you can do a monthly donation or just a one-time donation to the show. And it helps a lot. It keeps my equipment up to date and whatever else I need funds for. And there are a couple of people who are already monthly donors, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much for doing that. And please, don't hesitate to donate to the show. It always goes to a good cause. All right, moving on. I got a new band called The Melodies, and we are going to be releasing a new single / demo. Is a demo version of our single, our first song, to be put out into the world. It's a song called Laman. In English, it's called Flesh. And we will be releasing that on all the streaming sites, Spotify, Apple, whatever you, and YouTube, later on in the month to wrap up Filipino American History Month here in the U.S. We're going to go out with a bang. And a little further down, maybe a week after the single comes out, we're going to put out the music video, which is a really cool music video. It was directed by a new friend of the band and a great supporter of the band, Angelo Alonte. Thank you very much, brother, for all your help. This is going to be a good journey, combining forces with you and your crew, as well as Lauren, I forget their last names, Zuzi, and Marceline Taylor, who hooked everybody up with one another. You know, she is the diplomat that brings all the talent together. So thank you very much for all your help. So check it out. The Melodies is coming out with a single in maybe 2 weeks called Laman, and a video on the last week of October, just in time for Halloween. So please check it out. Please listen. That's all you got to do is just listen for more than because I think if you press play on Spotify, they have to like you have to listen to the song at least a minute and 15 or a minute 30 for it to count as a listen, as one listen. So please, it's a great song. I wouldn't be selling it like I'm selling it right now if I didn't believe in it. So please do that. And check out the melodies and follow us on Instagram at Melodies Official, and on Facebook, The Melodies. That's DEES. All right. Thank you very much for that one. And all right. So episode 29 is going to be Mr. Razon, who is a multi-instrumentalist, best known for his percussion work and his guitar work. And he lives mostly in the States now, and most of his life from the early 1970s to now, he's been living mostly in America. But he was in the Philippines in the 1990s when that whole scene was happening, and he formed his own band called Puro Ritmo, Pure Rhythm. And they were, world music band, afro-Cuban salsa, and maybe some samba. I'm not sure about samba, but for sure Afro-Cuban music, which I love very much. And I got to see him once, only once. Puro Ritmo had a regular gig at this bar called Havana Cafe in Makati, and I got to see them once, and it was awesome. They were in the middle of a song, in the middle of a set. So they were on fire. They were on fifth gear, sixth gear already. And they were just, it was just happening, man. They were just on fire. And I was like, wow, we have a band that can sound like this, And a lot of his bandmates were his students from maybe UST or UP, I'm not sure. But because he became a university professor. And he recruited some of his students to play music with him in that band. So I was very fortunate to see them at least once, and it wasn't a regular thing because that club, that bar was catered for an expat audience, and it's not my crowd at all. So, but at least I got to see him once. So anyway, he's gonna be telling us some really cool stories. He was, before he left for the States in the early '70s. He was jamming with with all of them, with Pepe Smith, with Wally Gonzalez, with Mike Hanapol, Edmund Fortuno, all of them, and he was one of their buddies. And then he left, I think, in '71 or '70, and he pretty much grew up not grew up as a teenager, but started his adult life in America in the 1970s. So I can only imagine what life was like for a rock and roller, in his 20s in the 1970s in America. Must have been wild. So he's got a lot of stories, and we talk about music a lot, and a lot about drums, and so there. I hope you enjoy this one. This is episode 29 on WDRS Talk. This is Mr. Razon. Enjoy. All right, how you doing, sir?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I just had a birthday about 10 days ago, so new orbit for me this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait. Sorry. Hold on.
Okay.
Check mic test. Can you say something again?
Test 1 2. Mic test 1 2
Hey,
1 2
okay.
1 2.
Hey,
Mic
hold on.
test 1
Sorry.
2. Let's go.
There again, please.
Yeah. Test 1
there.
2.
All right, there we go.
1 2.
There we go. Okay, now I can hear you. All right, take 2. How's the weather there? Is it hot?
It's very hot and muggy today. Kind of strange weather.
Where are you?
I'm in the Temecula Valley, which is exactly midway between San Diego and LA.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So not too far. An hour to LA.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, I'm in Orange County, so it's the
oh,
same. It's the
yeah,
same thing.
it's the same. Riverside.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We're neighbors.
yeah. Very close. So yeah. Oh my God! In Riverside, yeah, it gets hotter there than where I am because I'm
Yeah,
I'm
because
I'm more a little more closer to the coast. So
you're
it's
closer to the coast, right?
yeah.
But I went this past weekend. I went to Oceanside. My cousin, it was her birthday. She had a beach party, a bonfire, so it was really nice.
Oh, and you had a birthday too, right? Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, about 10 days ago,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah,
got a new orbit going on.
yeah.
they
speaking
just
of
they
speaking of
just keep
oceans,
coming.
yeah, they just keep coming. Can't stop it, right? Yeah, I just turned 50 this year,
Wow,
so that's a milestone there.
wow, you're a young man. You're. I mean, how should I say? You're still a young man,
Well, yeah.
baby.
Speaking of Oceanside, my parents used to live there, so I would go there almost every weekend. Not now not anymore, but I used to go there every weekend in Oceanside, not in the coastal
But
part of it,
inland,
inland.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think it was in Douglas Avenue, that big avenue that you go into, and
yeah,
then
Oceanside is like 40 minutes, maybe 30 minutes without traffic. But the problem is, I think it's 76. There's traffic lights from the 15
oh.
from the 15 to the coast. It's not exactly a expressway.
Oh,
There's
okay.
traffic
Yeah,
light.
yeah. 76. Yeah, that's all traffic
76,
lights.
yeah, all
Yeah.
traffic lights. Bummer, man.
So, so do you pass Fallbrook? You've passed
Yeah,
Fallbrook,
yeah.
right?
I
Yeah,
passed Fallbrook. There's a
yeah.
shortcut over the mountain, but you need the
Oh,
ID.
oh,
Because
okay.
you have to go through
It's,
Pendleton.
oh, okay. Wow. So that route in Pendleton, what does it look like? Is it just land?
It goes to it's quite wild because it goes through a lot uh, you know jungle, not jungle, but uninhabited areas. So
Wow.
because that the Pendleton, they have a target range and everything.
Oh yeah,
So they use
yeah,
that for training.
yeah, yeah. To the listeners, Camp Pendleton is I think one of the hugest bases in the states,
When
and the
marine base,
Marines,
yeah,
yeah, Marine
yeah.
bases, and they pretty much before, if there was, I guess, if there was an emergency, or if there was a war happening, they would deploy from there.
Right.
That is their deployment spot.
It's in World War II.
Yeah.
In fact, when they have practice, sometimes when they're practicing, we can hear
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
artillery.
Yeah.
Because
I
it's
would be. I would be having Sunday lunch at my
yeah,
folks' house in Oceanside, and then you just hear boom, boom,
yeah,
and you
boom,
could feel the ground shake.
yeah,
You could actually feel the ground shake. I'm like, wow.
heavy artillery. Yeah,
Oh, it's just heavy. I mean, and then so the feeling I get is like then my imagination starts to go. It's like, can you imagine this 1,000 times more during an actual war?
oh yeah,
And it's still going on in the Middle East or wherever there's still people who are fighting each other. It's like that. It's just explosions every day, and so
well,
yeah, it makes it real. When you hear those cannons going off. Oh man, yeah.
yeah. Well, we used to live. Uh, well, we just moved from the East Coast, from Virginia, a year and a half ago.
Hmm.
But before that, we were in Las Vegas, pretty close to. There's an Air Force base there, where all the F-35, F-22, and there's also a target range in north of Las Vegas.
No.
So once in a while, I'd be driving. They'd be practicing there. I mean, you're not allowed anywhere near there, but you can hear it and see
You
it.
can hear it. Oh yeah, you can
Yeah.
definitely hear it. Oh, but what the cool thing about is in Camp Pendleton is on the other side, on the coast side, they have training for the helicopters, dropping off the things. And then you could see from the freeway, you could see buildings, like replicas of buildings that are in the Middle East, I guess. I'm just assuming it's all about the Middle East. So that's where they train their tactics going into buildings, I guess. Because that's the kind of warfare that it is now over there. It's just from building to building, trying to flush everybody out. So it's fun when you're on the freeway and then there's training happening on the beach. You see these big helicopters and then the Marines, rappelling down the choppers, and it's a trip.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know where your tax dollars are going.
Well, you got to be strong.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that want to,
Oh yeah.
hurt. Anyway, it's nice to be here. What is this your weekly thing you have, or?
Yeah. I already finished the first season. I did 25 episodes, and
Wow.
I interviewed like Chikoy. I interviewed some DJs like Bob Magoo and Jaime Lontok, and chefs. Anyone and everyone that I think that I'm a fan of.
Oh,
I'm not just choosing people who just to
random.
because not just random people who have names or whatever. It's like I have to have some interest in that. So
Yeah.
I mean, of course, in anything else, in anything in life, you have to have that interest, so you stay in it, and then you have fun. So
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is so you're part of the second season. I already have I think you're the seventh that's going to be in the can, and I'm just shopping around for sponsors, and then I can release the second season, which is a weekly episode.
So you'll, you'll send a link once it's out.
Oh yeah, you'll
I
know.
can see it. I'll know.
You'll know.
Okay.
I do a social media blast for everything, so you'll know
Nice.
when it's out. Yeah.
Yeah, because I want I'll invite some friends and
Oh
family.
yeah, and that's for your your what you call that, your reference. So people, you have another link that you can put in.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get to it. I always start the interviews telling the people how I experience them. My experience with them. So to be honest, I only saw you once, and it was in passing. But I remember being like, "Whoa!" And it was in Club Havana, in
Cafe Havana.
Cafe Havana. In the new Glorieta, I mean the new Greenbelt. It was new at the time.
Yeah.
It was a great location, but
Yeah.
somehow that bar, had a reputation of being a little sleazy at times. But you were playing Borazon. What band were you in at Borazon?
My band before at Havana was Puro Ritmo.
Yes, Puro Ritmo.
And then also after that, for a while it was Fuego. I believe it was Fuego. But anyway, it's more of like almost the same personnel. It was comprised of mostly some of my students, because I taught in UP. UP College of Music. I taught for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
I was a senior lecturer there, and as a matter of fact, I started little self-serving. I started the Afro-Latin program there in UP.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the whole, learning Afro-Cuban, Cuban, Afro-Brazilian, and Caribbean music. So that was my whole shtick when I was in UP. And the way that started was because I used to, I did a few trips to Cuba in the 90s. Well, first of all, let me back up. I don't know if I'm supposed to start talking already. It just segued into the thing. But anyway.
Let me just finish my thought, and then
I'm sorry.
No. This is okay. no, this is cool. This is how it's done. We just go back and forth. So anyway, that was my experience seeing you, and I already heard. I had all this knowledge that you were teaching in UP, and your band was composed of your students. I heard that
Yeah.
because when I saw you guys, it was all young dudes. You know, it was all young dudes. I'm like, wow, and you guys were on fire, man. I
Right.
remember I remember going in. It was really full, and then of course there's the crowd is always dancing because it's an expat thing, so you
Right.
expect dancing, when there are foreigners around. So it was smoking, man, and then it was
Oh,
like
nice.
because before then, I gotta tell you that right now I am like the hugest fan of like Buena Vista Social Club. I am the hugest fan. I've seen them 3 times already here, and I was lucky that I saw Ibrahim Ferrer before he died.
Right.
I was lucky to see Omara, and she's still alive. But oh my
Oh,
God, it's like
she's got to be 100 years old.
yeah, I know.
She's still singing, huh?
Yeah,
It's,
she's so
it's probably
strong.
mid. I think she's mid 90s
Mid
already.
nineties. Yeah,
She's
yeah,
still
yeah.
singing and
She's
amazing.
she's the only one left from the older
Yeah,
batches.
exactly,
Because the
exactly.
guitarist
Compay Segundo, he's passed away
he's passed
also.
away already. The
Yeah,
bassist passed away already. The
uh,
pianist passed away already.
Ruben Gonzalez.
Ruben Gonzalez, the timbalero passed away already. I think, right? The guy with the glasses.
Um Amado. What was I?
Ah,
There's a few different editions. I'm not sure which one
yeah.
you're
But
talking
anyway,
about.
it was funny because from the first time I saw Buena Vista, Ibrahim was still alive, and then the second time I think he passed away already, and then the third time it was already a whole new band. The singer was young, a young guy. So
Right. Yeah.
they looked like a normal salsa band already. With like the original trumpet player was still there. He's still alive actually until now. He's strong too. And then who was Omara sang. Yeah, the whole percussion section was new. They were younger, but not young, but they were younger than the original guys. So anyway, so when that time when I saw you, I that was the first time I also heard Buena Vista Social Club because I saw um I was lent a VHS of that documentary. And I
Right.
fell and
Yeah.
I fell in love with that music. I just fell in love with that music. I would listen. I know what it sounded like before because it's always there somehow,
Oh
like
yeah.
bossa nova and samba, and it's always there in the Philippines in the background. But this time I was like, oh, this is not background music at all. This is this is some serious deep shit.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, wow. And then so yeah, that's my experience with you, and I think I probably saw you again maybe if you played a fete de la musique. Did you guys play a fete?
I played. Yeah, we played quite a few of those fets
Okay.
when I was living, back in Manila.
Yeah.
I think at least three or four, not necessarily consecutive years, but I remember
Right.
playing in,
Then I probably saw you again in one of those
yeah,
fetes.
or
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, I remember going inside Cafe Havana, and you were on fire. You were just probably, yeah, you were in the middle of the set and everyone was just on fire. I'm like, wow, wow, wow. I've never seen uh I've never seen a local band play like that, like music like that. So
well,
I was
uh, you mentioned Buena Vista.
mhm.
One of the musical directors was Juan Marco Gonzalez, Juan de Marcos Gonzalez, and his instrument was, besides leading the band, was the tres cubano, which
Mhm.
is happen to have one right here next to me, but it's one of the instruments I play. So tres is a typical folkloric guitar of Cuba. It's tuned
You wanna play
differently.
it? You wanna play it?
Well, yeah, I have it right here. It's strung up differently and it's tuned differently. So you can make any guitar into a tres, but
Oh,
this is a Yamaha student size because it's a smaller. The traditional tres is about this size.
okay.
So it plays what you call montunos, right? which if the chord changes, it doesn't strum. It doesn't. It's out of tune, but it doesn't strum. It plays.
Oh, that's the sound of that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know. It's stuff does stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's the instrument that he plays.
Okay.
And I am proud to say that in my CD, my EP that I released 2 years ago, the bass player is one of the best Cuban bass players. He played with a lot of great bands in Cuba, but he left Cuba some years ago. So he settled in the Bay Area. He lives in the East Bay, San Francisco Bay, and he was the guy who played bass on my CD, Saronay Sessions.
Yeah.
And he goes on the road with this guy, Juan de Marcos Gonzalez, who now has a group after Buena Vista Social Club called the Afro-Cuban All-Stars.
Oh, yeah. I love them too.
He's the bass player, the big guy.
Okay.
He's from Santiago de Cuba on the eastern side.
Oh, wow. So you're talking
Ernesto Mazar Quindelan. That's his name.
That's his name. And then the other guy you're talking about is the guy who wears the beret, right?
Yes, with the major dreads.
Yeah, with the locks. Yeah,
kind of a long lock. Not really, not Rasta dreads, but he's
Yeah.
And that's the guy I'm talking about. And he plays this tres cubano.
Oh, okay. Oh my God, that's it.
Yeah,
that's the sound, man.
Exactly. So that's how Cuban dance music started in the late 19th century, because it started in rural Cuba and moved westward to Havana, and then it got more developed. But back in the provinces, just like the Philippines, Cuba. In fact, Cuba and the Philippines are so parallel. The way we are, the way the laid back, and
even the rebels are the same
with music. But anyway, they didn't have pianos, in the barrios, in the mountains. So this is what did the changes. And then later on, when it moved into the urban areas, as it moved towards Havana,
they added piano.
They had piano. They added little things added, and then the orchestra got bigger and bigger.
Wow.
But it started as a folkloric genre, that this whole salsa music, which emanated from Cuban dance music. I mean, a lot of the Latin countries, there's salsa, no? I mean, salsa is a all-encompassing Latin music.
Yeah.
But the base of it is Cuban music. That's why I went there to study it in the 90s.
My gosh, it's so deep, no? It's like
very deep.
It's very deep, yeah. And the thing is, on Netflix, there's a documentary called Cuba Libre, and it's a documentary about the history of Cuba. And I mean, they went through a lot, man. Until now, they're still going through a lot.
Oh yeah.
With COVID, and but it's I always have this thought that when they became, that's the thing. It's when the revolution happened and Fidel became president, he wasn't a communist to begin with. He became communist because the Americans, they shunned him. So they were like, oh shit, I gotta make friends with Russia now. So I mean, that's what I got from the documentary. So so they turned communist, and he killed some of his co-revolutionaries. He became a dictator and all of that. But he kept one thing that I will not fault Fidel Castro for is he did not ban the actual music. He banned the nightclubs and all of that, but playing the music, go ahead and play the music, but no more nightclubs and all of that. So, I mean, can you imagine if he was an asshole? I mean, a real asshole that didn't like music, didn't like art, didn't appreciate art, and he would just ban everything, and this music would be. I don't know.
If you're a Cuban and you have no music, you might as well be dead.
Yeah.
Because this is again the parallel with the Philippines. Imagine Filipinos without music. It's the same. Imagine Cubanos without music. It's a very intrinsic part. It's like an inborn thing in Cuba. The rhythm the Cuban music is the marriage of Africa and Spain. So
Yes.
two really like dynamic culture. It's like a cultural, bam, and
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
the result. I mean, unfortunately and tragically, it was the slavery. The Africans were brought as slaves, no, during the
Yeah.
Middle Passage. It was really unfortunate how that happened. But on the other side of that, what happened was they meshed with the Hispanic culture with their masters, and this Cuban, and it's a Creole culture. It's a
Creole. Yeah.
Cuba. In fact, I think it was Fidel who said, "Ni negra ni blanca, Cuba es mulata," which means neither white, not black,
Yeah.
not white. Cuba is mulatto.
Mulatto mix.
It's Creole. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Creole.
exactly what it is. It's exactly what happened with the music, and
Yeah.
that's why it's so dynamic. It's and that stuff is deep. You're right. The roots of it are very deep.
Yeah, and it's the same as like the blues. I mean, if there was no slavery in America, there
There
would be
you
no
go.
blues, there would be no rock and roll, there would be no heavy metal, and everything that came from the blues. Nothing. There wouldn't be. So, oh my gosh.
Well,
So
maybe it would be something else, but
something else,
not
but
that,
not.
right?
Yeah, but not what we have, which is
Yeah.
really good. So
Yeah.
it's scary. It's scary to think. It's like, oh man, what if? I mean, would you? It's like here's a question. It's like, would you trade all of that? Would you trade um, the non-invention of all this music for no slavery? It's
Well,
of course, hindsight is 2020. You can see clearly with all the history, but my gosh, right?
well,
It's a
regardless, slavery is a terrible thing,
no,
and
yeah, of course,
I think we don't know, but there probably could have been other ways. Eventually, if people are free to be themselves and practice their culture,
hmm
and then that intercultural interchange and exchange through trade and travel and
yes,
et cetera, between flippers, you wouldn't need slavery anyway,
yeah,
because it's something like that would have happened. It might have taken longer. I don't know. I mean, it's
yeah.
something that we can't really. Uh,
It's hard.
it's
You
just
can't.
it's your conjecture, right?
Yeah. It's all conjecture. So, so anyway, since we know what you evolved into, I wanted to also know what you started as, because I guess I'm guessing, are you the era of Sila Pepe, or are you younger? I'm not sure.
I'm not younger.
Oh, not okay. So okay, we'll keep it there.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna quote Mike Hanapol, my buddy,
You're right,
Rabbi Mike Hanapol.
Rabbi Mike. Yes.
Yeah. If you're listening, brother, shalom. Anyway, Mike Hanapol said, "Yan Zibo Razon. Nobody knows this, but he was the first guitarist of Juan Dela Cruz." Let me tell you the story.
Wow.
Wally, in the late 60s, I just started my 70th orbit, Wolf.
Wow.
So
Congratulations,
10
man.
days, 10 days ago.
Yeah.
So in the late 60s, I was 18 years old. And after high school, I started hanging around Angeles and Olongapo. But first, I went to the States to finish my high school, a year and a half. And then 1969, winter of 69, I came back to the Philippines, no? Or maybe January 1970. And then I was hanging around Sila Pepe and Mike. We used to go on base to Clark Air Base and, do this
Yeah.
and that and the other. And, I had a girlfriend on base there, and daughter of an Air Force captain.
Nice.
And Jimmy Joseph, who lives right in our area too. I don't know if you know him, but Jimmy
Jimmy.
Joseph
No, I
was
don't know.
also Jimmy Joseph is the younger brother of Johnny Midnight. You remember Johnny
Oh, I
Midnight?
know Johnny Midnight. Yeah.
He's Syrian Filipino. Syrian
Oh, there's Syrian
Syrians.
Filipinos.
They're no
Oh,
Syrian Spanish Filipino. Of course, born in the
okay.
Philippines. But they're the Joseph family. You must know Ralph Joseph, and some of them died already, Mikey Joseph. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Joseph was also hanging around at the same time. He was a vocalist, and we Pepe and we used to jam. Bing Labrador was also there. Mike Hanapol. So anyway, they wanted to get something together because the jams were really, really something, man. I mean, this was
Yeah.
like an era of. By the way, I had just come back from the States because I went to my junior year and half of my senior year in Baltimore, Maryland. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
so I left when I was 15. I came back when I was 17, turning 18. But
Mm.
while I was in Baltimore, I saw all my heroes. I saw Jimi Hendrix live. I saw
Oh
Cream. I
shit.
saw Al Cooper with Mike Bloomfield and uh,
Oh,
live at the Baltimore Civic Center. I saw a Jeff Beck group. He just hired a new singer, a young guy. Nobody knew who he was. Whose name was Rod Stewart.
oh my
Okay,
God.
that was he played. That was the Truth. That Truth
The
album
Truth album. Yeah.
era. Yeah. So I saw all these people live. Uh, who else did I know? Not the Small Faces. But then, right before I left the States that time, I saw this concert. My buddies were saying, "Hey, man, you gotta come. We gotta come see the Who." I was a big fan of the Who.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Who. Shit.
They're playing. There is two town, 20 miles away, Columbia, Maryland, Merriweather Pavilion. I'll never forget this. But they have an opening act. I said, "Yeah, I never heard of this opening act. Who is the opening act?" Led Zeppelin.
Oh my God. Are
Okay,
you
now
kidding me?
Wolf, I'm not shitting you, man.
Shit,
Now
pare.
I'm sitting there. The ticket was like $4.75.
God damn.
I'm
Was this
sitting
what,
there.
1968 or something?
1969, May
1969.
1969.
This is before the Led Zeppelin album came out, I guess.
This is right when the first album came out.
Oh
Well,
my God.
so we're going. This is Jimmy, because everybody we knew Jimmy Page. Clap, Yardbirds. That whole history.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Beck and Clapton and the
Right.
Yardbirds and the Blues Breakers and they all kept changing and da, da, da. But
Intermingling.
so sabi namin, this is we knew this was Jimmy Page's new band. Okay, so wow, who else is in there? I don't know, some Robert Plant. I don't know, so John Bonham. Who are these guys? Right. The only one I knew was Jimmy Page.
Wow.
So they're the opening act, Wolf. Imagine. So they come on stage for the very first time. Page starts. Ba bam ba bam bam chaka 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 ba bam ba bam bam. Pare, the whole set, we were like, holy okay, can I say that?
Yeah.
Holy fuck. We were just, what in the holy name?
So what
We
happened?
were like,
So what was your reaction when Bonham came in? Like the first time he comes in?
we were just floored, man. Our jaws were freaking,
Wow.
whoa. This is the opening act. Led Zeppelin at that point of the release of their first album. All those they played all those tunes, by the way.
The whole first album,
The
yeah.
whole first album, pretty much all of it they played, because that was their set, because they didn't have anything else.
Oh yeah.
So they do their set, and then of course there's an intermission, and then Townsend and company come on stage. It was the time of Tommy, Pinball Wizard,
Right. Uh-huh.
So they did their set. Oh yeah.
So did they play the whole Tommy?
They played a lot of it. My memory banks are a little.
Yeah.
But they played Pinball Wizard. They played a bunch of the tunes from Tommy, and then a couple of their classics from before. And they sounded great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But Led Zeppelin had just opened. They had to follow Led Zeppelin, who was their front opening act.
Yeah. Oh my
So
God.
check this out. Here's the punchline, dude. About a few days later, we're looking at the music news. We're still high over that concert. I mean,
Oh
naturally
my
blown
God.
away. And then
Yeah.
we see this announcement. We see this little news article. Peter Townsend of The Who has just announced that for the remainder of their US tour, there will be no more opening act. Oh, putang ina,
Oh,
pare.
probably
Gee,
there's
I
probably
wonder why.
Oh my God.
So, pare, dude, I'll never forget that.
Shit,
That
man.
was just. I mean, I was so fortunate. I mean, thank you.
Oh
I
my
was
God. You are,
blessing
I
you.
mean,
I
wow.
was I was I was in high school. I mean,
That is, that era. That is a turning point right there. You were witnessing
I was
history.
there.
Like,
I witnessed history.
oh, dude, because
I
because after that Led Zeppelin won, that's it. The rock music changed
Yep,
because of John Bonham. It's like
yep.
you have to play like John Bonham to be a heavy band. You
But
know?
I remember he did at least a 15-minute solo
Oh god
on that.
damn!
But it was probably more like 20 minutes.
Shit! And this
And
is a
and we
young
were
John
we were
Bonham.
like, this was John Bonham in 1969.
Shit!
Okay, man. So like we were like,
Oh god! I
holy.
can't even. I can't even.
Um,
Wow!
and then
And then
a
there's
few
more.
months later, I
Okay.
went back to Manila, but not before I went to New York to visit my aunt. I had an aunt in Brooklyn,
Mhm.
and while I was staying with her,
Shit! What
I
was Brooklyn like at that time?
um,
I
it
mean,
was
now it's all gentrified. Now I don't know
yeah,
how
Brooklyn was a little
sketchy.
gritty,
Oh,
gritty,
gritty.
yeah.
Okay.
But my aunt lived in the Jewish section, Williamsburg.
Uh
What is
huh.
now Williamsburg on Henry Street.
Oh,
So
okay.
now it's, I
Oh,
mean,
it's.
she's passed away already, but she should have hung on to the apartment. It would be worth millions.
Oh my God! Yeah.
But
Now, hell
the,
yeah.
the point is, I stayed with her, but I'd go to the Fillmore East,
Mm.
you know. So I'd cross, I'd take the subway
Wow.
To Manhattan, and I saw that's where I saw Electric Flag again,
Wow.
with Buddy Miles playing drums.
Right.
So Buddy Miles was playing drums,
And Bloomfield, right?
and
Bloomfield's in.
Bloomfield. I remember because there were hardly. I mean, it was like back then they would play till midnight. They would just play for hours.
Wow.
Their set was 2-3 hours, 3.5 hours. I remember Bloomfield was laying on his back on stage, just playing the most incredible,
Oh my
blues.
God.
And so I saw a couple more groups in Fillmore East, but I can't remember them. My brain is
I
already
mean,
fuzzy.
when I see pictures of the old Fillmore East pictures, and then they have the marquee
Yeah,
with the date, and
yeah,
all these bands are like, oh my God! Of course, during that time, those bands were still new and young,
yeah,
but they went on to become classics. It's like, oh my God! I can't just imagine
yeah.
how 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 happening or not even happening, but how gosh, it must have been just amazing. I don't have any other word but amazing.
Well,
All kinds of music and all top notch. It's like, oh shit.
I mean, after I saw Hendrix and Cream and Jeff Beck and Led Zepp open for the Who, I mean, that was it. I was in heaven. I could have just died and gone
Yeah,
straight to rock nirvana from there.
gosh.
But that was my seminal. I mean, I'd been playing guitar already a couple of years. No,
Yeah,
I started noodling around about 14. I started with the bass actually,
yeah.
and then when the first time I heard blues, I fell in love with just blues
What was this?
music.
High school, grade
Yeah,
school,
early high school, early high school.
and where? How did you hear the blues
Um,
in high school in Manila? Were you in Manila?
I was in Manila because my uncle lived in California and Vegas. He would come visit us from the States
Mm.
and bring records.
Ah.
And he was a big R&B, he could sing and play. In fact, he gave me my first guitar when I was like 11. Uh,
Wow.
but he would bring records. So, I heard BB King. I was 13 years old in
Wow.
Manila.
My
He would
gosh.
bring these records. Um, uh, oh man, I'm just trying to. Anyway, there was some. I heard the Blues Breakers, the very first album, the
Mm.
one where he's sitting on the sidewalk reading a
Yeah,
comics.
yeah.
That one.
Yeah,
Uh,
Clapton's like really young.
Clapton's super. He looks like he's like 18 years old.
Yeah.
But John Mayall was an early favorite of mine. So
Yeah.
BB King, and then later, then when I moved to the States, or when I went to the States for high school, middle of a high school, that was 1968 or later part of 67, early 68. Then, because my grandma lived in Baltimore,
Mm.
dude, total blues city. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah.
was too young. I couldn't go into the
Oh, you
club
can. Yeah, you
because
couldn't
I was
go
too
out.
young. But
Yeah.
I made friends who were older, like the seniors in the school and stuff. And they go, "Hey, dude, you come with us, and there's some jams. You play a little bit." Yeah, I said, "Yeah, I play a little bit." And
Yeah.
so when they heard me play, I was in because they
Yeah.
didn't even know where the Philippines was, man. They thought I
Yeah.
was Puerto Rican or some
Yeah.
shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this total, and
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of rednecks there too. But
Yeah.
it was fine. As soon as they heard me play, hey, dude, those freaking barriers just melted.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You're in, Razon. You're in,
Yeah.
dude. You sound like
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to, But anyway, and that's the guys who turned me on to everything else. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And they were the ones who said, "Oh, you got to come with us. We're going to go see the Cream, and you got to come with us. We're going to see Hendrix." And
Oh
oh, I'm
wow.
so happy to hook up.
Oh
You know what?
wow.
Wolf? To this day,
Uh huh.
that was 1968, right?
Yeah.
1969. To this day, we're friends.
Oh
We
wow.
reconnected after like
Yeah.
half a century on
50 years. Yeah.
yeah, on Facebook, right?
Wow.
And now the one guy, Chuck Hughes, he has he got into rockabilly, and he's got a little bit of a name. His group is the Hillbilly Hellcats.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my high school
Oh
buddy,
wow.
Chuck Hughes. That's the guy.
I mean, they still play. I mean, I still see like
Yeah,
posters, because there's every now and then here in Southern California, especially
yeah, that's
there's
them.
always the rockabilly shows here. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Wow.
it was a wild time. So then I went back to Manila after all of that
Hmm.
and hooked up with Mike Hanapol and Pepe and all those other guys, and they were getting a group together. But Wally was still very busy. I don't know. He had some other stuff going on. He couldn't, you know, quite.
Couldn't commit yet.
So for about 2 or 3 months, I was the guitar player for Juan Dela Cruz. The
Wow.
seminal days. You can ask Mike Hanapol.
Oh my God. So this is before the first incarnation of Juan de la Cruz.
Yeah, this was the
The really the first one. The
yeah, it wasn't even really,
Oh, okay. Right. So
but it was, and then Wally became available, and then
mhm.
something happened. Oh, I formed my own band
Oh,
with Jimmy Joseph
okay.
on harmonica and vocals, and Bing Labrador, who Bing played with everybody.
Right.
And then for a while, Bosio, Edmond Fortuno, we were playing
Mm.
a lot together also. He was our drummer, but my band was called Tomas Tino Blues Band. For short,
Oh, that's your band, the Titinho band.
Tino. That's my band. And we played Antipolo 1970.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. I remember seeing that name. I forget when I first saw that name.
That's us.
Back in the
That's
90s.
me and Jimmy. And oh, now I remember our drummer was Anthony Borromeo. We called him Burro. He was a really good drummer.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what happened to him. But anyway, we played some wild gigs. We were kicked out, man. Of we
Of
played
where?
well, girls' schools. We would
Oh,
play. We would play the fair, and
yeah,
we were the bad boys because we didn't want to do any Dave Clark Five or Beatles.
yeah.
But we were doing Stones and early Who
Oh
and
my
and
God.
them, Van
Them,
Morrison,
Van
them,
Morrison, yeah.
Gloria, Gloria, that kind of stuff. We didn't want to do any pretty love songs, right?
Yeah,
So
and yeah.
Jimmy Joseph, his shtick was he would bang the tambourine while singing a la Jagger. He did a little, and the sisters at Saint Teresa's, man, like by the third song they
They're
said,
not having it. Stop shaking your hips,
"Oh my God, that's
young man.
wild." Oh,
Stop shaking your pelvis, young man. Oh
yeah.
my God.
But right before Titinho, I gotta tell you, this other group I was
Mm.
in, we call ourselves the Snubs with a U, the
Yeah,
Snubs.
the
Chicky
snubs.
Legarda was playing drums, Chicky Legarda, and Joey Freeboth was on the vocals. And Chami Tejada, these were all some La Salle and San Beda boys,
Mm. Yeah.
buddies of mine. But the bad boy image started then, and then it moved on to Titinho.
Titinho bad.
Tomas Tino. Would they go
Tomas Titinho.
the full? But you know what, dude? After I went back, and then after Antipolo, right before martial law,
Yeah.
I went back to San Francisco, and then that's how I stayed a long time. But later on in the 70s, I heard somebody co-opted the name.
What, Titinho?
Somebody claimed it as theirs, right? And I don't know.
Oh.
I mean,
maybe that's the
That's-
one that I'm referring to. That second whatever claiming.
well,
it.
yeah, but that had nothing to do with us because we were the OG.
Yeah.
We were the
No, what
OG.
what I'm saying is if you're saying that someone else is claiming to be Titinho band,
Well,
it's the best. It's the best band name ever.
well, it was whoever did that.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not them.
There's
Yeah,
no law against that, but we were the first.
Right,
We were the
right.
OG. We were the original.
yeah. And you came up with the name.
We didn't pass it on to when we didn't
Yeah,
pass
when
it
you-
on to anybody else.
Yeah, when you
They
broke
just-
up, you broke up. That's
We
it.
broke up. We broke up. People left. Jimmy and I
Yeah.
went to San Francisco basically, and then
So, what was it like? Tell me about that Antipolo show because it's a very. I mean, it's already all those events from that era. They're
So
all mythological already at this point. So it would
well,
be
I think we
nice
were
to
already past the statute of limitations. So
yeah.
I don't want to incriminate myself.
No, but I
No,
mean,
I didn't
what
really-
what was it like? Was it the 3-day thing? Was it an overnight?
It was a weekend
So-
thing.
Weekend thing. So like Woodstock talaga.
Woodstock talaga. I mean, I have never seen. It was just a I'll tell you, the first word that comes to my mind, Wolf, is surrealistic.
Mm.
It was. I was walking around, and not because of the herb or the weed or this and that and the other,
Mm.
but just the whole vibe.
Mm.
There were about 10 or 11,000 back in that day. We call them freaks.
Freaks,
no?
right?
Not hippies, not whatever, but just freaks.
Mhm.
These were the counterculture
Yeah.
Philippine version, no? But it was so great because it was exactly like Woodstock, except a little smaller scale, of course.
Yeah.
But it was like a tropical island version of Woodstock, and it was magical. It was surreal. It was magical. It was just a unforgettable a night to remember. And I don't know. I think there were others that were like that sort of patterned themselves
All right.
after
Yeah.
that, like
Uh-huh.
in the subsequent years.
Mm-hmm.
But that one, the 1970 very first one in Antipolo, was sheer magic. It was
Wow.
mystical. It was magical. It was like a magical mystery tour. And like
There's 10,000 people, 10,000 freaks.
10,000 on this hill I don't even remember where it was in Antipolo, but
Yeah.
it was magical because the puesto, no, the spot,
Mm-hmm.
you could look and see the whole down below into the lights of Manila, no. It had a view,
Oh
and so they set
wow.
up they
Okay.
set up the stage right in the middle, and all these people were around there. And I remember playing, at least getting on stage at least twice, because
Mm.
first it was our respective bands, no, Zero History. Oh no, not Zero History. Juan Dela Cruz. I'm not even sure if they were Juan Dela Cruz or Zero History back then. I know Pepe must have played 4 or 5 times that night. I think I played at least twice or maybe 3 times, and then I jammed with some more. Because back in the day, we were just all jamming with each other, no.
Yeah.
We
Uh-huh.
had our own. We had our own bands, no.
Yeah.
Tino, Juan de la Cruz,
Yeah.
um, uh, you know, this and that and the other. Vic Naldo, I remember from Olongapo. He was also in one of the bands. But then after our own band sets, we'd like uh, combine with another band and have a special, guest, kind of band jam, and then
Yeah.
and then we'd jam with somebody else. So it was a really fun night. And in fact, I remember we played "Sympathy for the Devil" because that's one of our signature songs.
No.
Stone's bad boy song.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then we got our girlfriends to, that woo woo
Oh really?
woo woo.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
allow me
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
We got
Woo-hoo.
we got our girlfriends. I'm not gonna mention their names,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but they were from AS and Sangli and
Oh
Clark.
my god. I mean, it must have been exciting for them, I mean,
Well,
they,
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
got to go on stage and sing backup for a rock band. But
So
then, wait a minute. So that came out 1970,
yeah,
and the
I think
movie
this.
hadn't come out yet, right? Was this
Well,
all
no, it was after the.
after the movie came out?
I don't know about the movie, but it was after
Of course, yeah, the festival, yeah.
the festival.
How did okay? So how did
When was the festival? Late '69, right? In in
summer
New
of '69
in New York, right?
in New York? Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So Antipolo was winter or December 1970. I
1970.
remember that because it was nice. It was a
Oh yeah, it was
chill
cold
in the
in
area.
Antipolo.
There
Yeah.
there were bonfires, man, and people walking
Wow.
around with blankets. Of
Oh,
course.
nice.
And then I remember some G, agents trying to infiltrate.
Agent provocateurs.
They were trying to infiltrate, but they got shouted down, man. Like,
Oh
get the
yeah.
hell out of here. But
So
yeah.
how did the Philippines, how did you guys know about Woodstock? Yeah, because I have no idea. I mean, was it in the papers in the Philippines,
Well,
or did you see
I
it?
when Woodstock happened, I was still in the U.S.
Right.
I was right before I left back for Manila. So that I saw Led Zepp open for the Who in May of '69,
Uh-huh.
and then Woodstock happened. Was it August?
August, yeah.
Yeah, July or August. A
August.
couple, a couple of months later, no, a
Yeah.
few months later. So I left. I believe I came back to Manila in October or November of '69.
Mm.
I think no, wait a minute, no. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It was anyway. It was It's right before winter. I came back to Manila. So Woodstock, the festival had already happened.
Right.
Um, so I knew about him. It was all over the news, but the movie, I'm not sure when it came out.
Because the movie came out in '71, I think, the
Okay,
year I
so
was born.
Antipolo was uh, before the movie.
Before the movie, yeah.
Yeah, but
So that's very interesting to me. That's why I ask you how the Filipinos knew about Woodstock, because they had their own before even the movie came out, because they didn't know what happened in Woodstock. I mean,
well, I mean the
there was
news.
news, yeah, and then just news clippings and the newspaper, and then and then shots in
Yeah.
the on the news reporting, but not the whole movie, which is a 3-hour epic.
But here's what's going on. Here's what was going. This is,
Right.
you know what, Wolf? Thank you, man.
Mm.
This is great because I haven't even thought about this stuff in decades. And this is what happened,
Yeah.
man. Early '60s, mid '60s, Vietnam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really getting heavy. Late '60s, early '70s. Well, guess what? Clark Air Base and Subic were there, right?
Yeah,
In
we're there.
Luzon.
Yeah.
So you got all these GIs and these Air Force flyboys and all these, Marines and sailors and Navy up in Olongapo, in Subic. You got these Air Force guys flying in and out of the states to their stop off point was Clark and Subic.
Yeah.
So before they went to Nam, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they
Right.
had to, and then a lot of them R&R from Vietnam. They would R&R in Clark and
In
Subic,
Clark. Yeah.
Angeles in Olongapo,
Oh my
for
God.
obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Well, we made a lot of friends. Pepe, because he's Tisoy, like me, Miss Tisong Hilaw.
Yeah.
We would hang out with these dudes,
Oh
So
wow.
as early as like 63, 64. But we always got, because we got Beatles records even in the early 60s. We didn't get the Capitol USA. We got the EMI Parlophone 45s in Manila.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So we got it straight from Europe because we're right in
Yeah.
the middle, and we got it from the other side, no?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was already filtering in, and then it came to a head when Flower Power and the whole counterculture thing started going off, right,
Yeah.
in the U.S. and in Europe. Well, it didn't. There was no lapse. I mean, Manila picked it up
Really?
because of the exchange,
Wow.
constant exchange.
And it
from-
just spread. It just
from
spread.
the,
then
from
up.
the GI, from the dudes in Clark and Subic,
Yeah.
going back and forth, bringing records and the posters, and plus, it was kind of in the news. There were magazines,
Yeah.
and then some of the locals, some of the Filipinos were going also in and out, no, in during that time. And so we got all the music. We were constantly updated. So it was a matter of time before Antipolo Woodstock. We call it Woodstick because it's like a small Woodstock, no?
Woodstick.
So naman the Pinoys,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the puns,
Yeah.
Woodstick. So anyway, it was just a matter of time because, it's sort of natural. I mean, Woodstock happened in summer of '69. Take about a year and a half, and then,
In the Philippines. Yeah.
Manila could,
Yeah.
But we were constantly updated. I mean, Deep Purple, you name it. You know what I mean? All of the groups, the psychedelic thing. We were Manila was right on top of it. Oh, the other thing was cats from AS and Sangley and Brent and Clark. They'd be bringing records.
Oh yeah.
They'd be in and out of the country. So
wow.
So it was.
So that's the connection. That's the foreign connection. Everyone who was an expat.
Yeah.
Who studied in IS and stuff like that. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if you just look at the map, it's like a gateway, right?
Oh yeah.
We're
Yeah.
like in
Yeah.
the middle, in the Pacific, and then Asia, and it's like.
That's why in the course of my interviews, and one reason why I'm doing this is that so that era of yours, and whatever era the people I'm interviewing in, it needs to be it needs to be remembered. It needs to be acknowledged that it happened, because it did happen, and that's a significant thing.
Yeah.
My mind is being blown away because the Philippines, they made their own Woodstock a year after the actual Woodstock, before the movie Woodstock. So they didn't know what really happened because the movie wasn't out yet. So they made their own. It's like it's such a Filipino thing to get an influence from here and there, and then make our own. And then, I mean, it was successful. 10,000 people. I mean, you can't
Oh, it was a huge success.
You cannot get a local gig now for with 10,000 people with local bands. No, maybe Journey, yes, but local bands is no.
Well,
So
let me tell you something else. As far as I know, now I could be wrong,
mm,
but as far as I could see, and as far as I know, there were no, you know, there was no like violent outbursts of violence or cases of violence. It
yeah,
was for 10,000 people, Pinoys.
Pinoy's.
And remember, we're coming out of because I grew up. I mean, I'm not proud of this, man, but I remember when I first started playing music, I was
Mm,
13. So coming out of grade 7, 7th grade into
mm,
early high school, we were in a combo, or
yeah,
you know uh, cover bands, but nobody ever made any money. I mean, the gigs were for prestige, so it was like to impress the girls, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so,
Well,
but
until
there,
now,
yeah, well, yeah, true, true. Some things are timelessly universal,
yeah,
but the thing back then, from the early to the mid 60s, was bands would come to parties and set up and just play,
and just play.
and then another band, a rival, more often than not, a rival band would come and set up on the other end of the patio or the courtyard or
And play
the
there
house,
too.
and play there too. So what they call sagutan, right? So and then
Oh,
since they were competing for, in a sense, right? In some cases, things got really heated, man.
oh my God.
I'll tell you a story.
Mm.
I was in this
So wait,
band.
before that,
Um,
when sagutan, when you mean sagutan, you play one song, then they play one song, or you
yeah,
play your set, they play their
sometimes,
set.
well, ostensibly, suppose you play a set, they play a set. But back in those days, I don't even remember sets. You play one or two songs, and then if you're not quick enough to start the
They're
third,
gonna start.
yeah. So
Oh,
and then it got to where one song, and then they start the next one right after you ended that song, because
yeah,
it was all covers. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
nobody really played any original stuff back in the day. Not
Mm,
not yet.
not yet.
That would come later.
Right.
So anyway, at this one party, I remember it was in New Manila. I remember around End Domingo, somewhere there. Anyway, the schools were rivals: La Salle,
Mm,
Ateneo, Sambeda, Letran,
yeah.
Adamson, and things got pretty hairy because people
And
people
there were bands from all
the
those
bands
schools.
affiliate, whatever school you were, you're affiliated,
Oh
like
wow, exciting!
or the San Juan, the San Juan gang,
The
and
San
then
Juan guy.
you join the band. Like, I joined the band, but automatically, de facto, I was also de facto, by virtue of being in the band, I was
Mhm.
also in the gang that protected the band.
Oh my God!
De facto. So I
Wow!
mean, no choice, right?
Oh my God!
So this one night, we
Yeah,
were in Tagalog, nagkakainitan na, right? So
yeah. Uh-huh.
so things were getting pretty heated. One song ends, and they play, and then as soon as they end, we start playing, and it got so heated. This, I won't mention the name, but this was a band from Ateneo,
Mm.
and we were a San Juan, St. John's Academy, some Lasalites, but
Yeah,
we were San Juan boys, right?
yeah. San Juan boys.
So the next thing you knew, Rambol.
Oh my
Oh
God!
my God! The girls start screaming. They get out of the way,
So
and
so how did it happen? So how did it start?
I'm not
How did?
proud of this, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
every time a band went out to play at a gig,
Mm.
there were at least 3, 4, 5 car convoy, right?
Uh-huh.
One vehicle carried the instruments. We always had a manager. We never had our own instruments. There was a manager who had some money, and he bought everything,
Oh
right?
wow!
So we just played, We didn't even have our access in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
But the amps, the drum set, everything was provided for. And then there was one car full of, with the gang that protected, the bodyguards. And then in the trunks would be like some
Oh wow, the weapons! Oh my
weapons.
god!
So this,
Oh, see,
so this particular night I'm talking about with that band, things got heated. The next thing I know, I'm freaking hide. I ran up, dropped the guitar, I ran behind the tree, buddy. I'm
oh,
thinking these freaking bullets are whizzing past
oh
me.
shit! They were
Holy shit.
firing guns.
Yeah,
Oh
I mean, this
shit!
was commonplace. Okay, this
Oh
is I'm talking
wow!
about an era that I don't think the younger people are too aware
Dude,
of this.
I didn't know. I have. This is the
Oh
first
yeah,
time I'm hearing
yeah.
of this. So this is fucking
We're
amazing.
I mean, for purposes, I'm not going to mention the
Of
names.
course, yeah. I mean,
Okay?
we don't need names.
But
I mean, the situation is amazing
I'm
already.
telling you, it was happening. That's how
God
we
damn.
never went out to play at a party or whatever without the entourage of security
Yeah.
and armory.
And armory.
Yeah, I
Oh
remember,
my god.
just to show you when this was. You know that where Green Hills, La Salle is, that whole Ortigas. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing standing there was Green Hills, La Salle.
LaSalle, right.
Everything else was
Green Hills.
no, was
Literally green hills.
or in Tagalog,
Talahib. Yeah.
Talahib,
Yeah.
Pogon. So
Yeah.
and we used to drag race because it was nothing, or just or imagine Ortigas like in the mid '60s. There's nobody,
Wow.
there's no traffic in Manila.
And this is the whole Ortigas Avenue from EDSA all the way to Gilmore.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
that the other side was not built yet. The other,
Oh, the Ortigas Center wasn't there yet.
no, none of that stuff was there.
Wow.
There were just the residential, a few of those, and then La Salle Green Hills.
Yeah.
But anyway, so bands would, the ones with the managers, because without mentioning names, the band managers were always scions of either political families or well-to-do clans and this and that.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
But so it was the well-equipped in many levels.
Yeah.
So if you joined up with them, you were protected.
Yeah.
Unless you were unlucky enough to catch a bullet in your leg,
Oh my god.
which did
wild.
happen. I lost a couple of friends
Really?
in those days with
Oh my god.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Damn. Wow. This is amazing. This is amazing. I mean,
it was
this is
like the wild west.
Oh, yeah, it's-
Where were you born, Wolf? In
I,
Manila
oh,
proper?
I was born I was born in St. Luke's.
Okay.
But I studied in
Where you
LaSalle
guessed
Green
it.
Hills. That's
So
my
you-
alma mater,
Okay, Green Hills.
Yeah.
But
That's my. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned the San Juan boys because we ourselves, when Razorback Wolfgang, we were starting out, we all hung out together, just like you guys in Pepe. We were the ones who hung out.
yeah,
Wolfgang,
you guys were
Razorback.
the next gen.
Yeah.
right?
And
From
we
us.
were the group. We were actually a group of friends. Actually, at the time, when things
Yeah.
are simpler when you're younger, right? Everyone's still friends,
Exactly.
and no girlfriends yet, no wives, no families. So our home base was the Ortigas residence. That was the home base of both bands. We would hang out there and all of that. And then you had Jaime Lontoc and his family who were in Little Baguio. I don't know if you know Jaime. He's the Gaucho, the DJ Gaucho, and all of that. But anyway, that was our thing, our group, because most of the other members, a lot of them, half of them lived in the South. So we were like more, and then we would call themselves, Miguel and them, they would call us the San Juan Boys Club. So,
Yeah.
I mean, when you mention San Juan Boys, I'm like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So these were probably like the titos, and in some cases the dads.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Because we're about, I guess we're about we're about 20 years apart, right?
Yeah, 20 years.
That's
Yeah.
almost one generation,
Yeah.
almost, not quite.
Yeah. Not quite. Not quite.
Yeah,
So, wow. So, when did that
I
stop? When people started getting killed? Did that stop? I mean,
well, unfortunately, a few people got killed,
god damn.
but here's some very interesting one around, I want to say 67, 60, when the counter, the whole flower power thing started coming in from abroad, and
Yeah.
then you had people started smoking weed and not getting drunk so much,
Right.
and popping pills. When weed came in, things slowed down and things sort of got pacified, uh,
Oh, okay.
and things got mellowed.
Yeah.
So the culmination of which was Antipolo. I mean, to get 10,000,
Mm,
Pinoy freaks with all peace and love vibes. Seriously, I mean, there were people ripping off their clothes and of
wow.
course
They
there's
re-
there's this one incident. I
yeah.
was on stage, and all of a sudden I see this woman. She's just grooving to the music, and she's really getting into it. The next thing you know, she's feeling so good. She rips off all her clothes, man, and just starts dancing. The
Yeah.
next thing you know, there's like a line of guys like chasing her down the gully, and I'm
Oh
going,
my
but
god.
not in a. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to make light of it that she might have been in trouble, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I didn't hear anything after that something untoward happened.
Yeah.
It was just like a mellow thing. It was just, I don't know. It was just,
Well, I'm sure there were other people there to defend her if there was ever, you
absolutely,
know,
sure, yeah.
you
But
know.
that's how natural and mellow the vibes were that night. That people
Wow.
could, the free expression. No, there were some. The man was there, and he
Yeah.
tried to cause some shit, but there were too many freaks, right?
Too many
Yeah,
freaks. Too
so
much love.
they just too much. There was just too much love. They got out loved, man.
Oh, I
You
love
know,
that, dude. They
you
got
know.
out loved,
Yeah.
man. So see, this is so important. See, now now we know whoever's going to hear this, and I hope a lot of people are listening to this. I mean, eventually, when this comes out, is that we had our own Woodstock. We had our own Peace and Love Festival. 10,000 Filipinos who did not fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is unheard of.
Yeah. Well, I
Let,
mean,
let alone
I,
50 Filipinos right now in the same room. They're gonna fight. Someone's gonna fight in there for sure.
well,
you know,
hopefully not.
yeah,
Hopefully
hopefully
not.
not. But I'm just comparing the times where, of course, now not everybody's on weed. so so
Well,
so it,
times are different too. There's
exactly, yeah,
we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have social media.
yeah,
We just it was a different vibe altogether. It was just I kind of miss it actually.
yeah. I
'Cause
bet.
right now there's so much tension everywhere. People are wound up, man.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
and you know what? I think, and they're wound up. I think it's they're winding themselves up. I mean,
Yeah.
there are people who get under your skin, like the former president and whatnot, people like that, and not just here but everywhere else. Stupid people in the government or wherever else. But you just have to sometimes just not let it affect you so much because you gotta
Yeah.
relax, man.
You
So
gotta zen it out.
you gotta zen it out. Yeah, it's fine to absorb it, but you gotta let it out. You can't keep it in and make it. You can't be. You can't become a bitter person because of it. Because it's really. I mean, you know, it, and that's what I mean. It's like it's it makes me proud to know that something like that happened. My gosh, it's still it to me right now. After it's just fresh. The news is just fresh about what Antipolo really was. No one ever really
You know,
talk to me about what it was. They would say it in passing. Oh yeah, Antipolo, it was cool. But
yeah.
this is the first time I'm hearing that there were 10,000 people, no violence. There were agent provocateurs that were outloved, I mean, it's something
Yeah,
to be proud of. It's something to really be proud of.
yeah. I agree. You're right. It is. And Wolf, I was going to say that there are pictures. There are some great a photographer friend of mine. Oh, I don't know if you know Noni Buencamino. He was there. He's our contemporary. He took some great photographs. Um, this guy Baluyot, who's no longer with us, he also took the like. And there's also some film. Some people, I'm gonna try to find out. Some people took
Oh, there's
footage.
footage.
There's film,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
video, because this
yeah,
was
yeah,
no video yet
yeah,
back
yeah,
then.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was Egay Navarro, who's not with us anymore. He passed some years ago, but he took some film, and I'm wondering uh, who has that. I think
Oh,
his widow might have a copy. Or
that is treasure. That is
yeah,
treasure.
there's some film. There's some
Wow.
16 millimeter
Wow, that is the
film.
best. Yeah. So anyway, so like I said, in the course of my interviews with all these older generation, uh, if you as a well, I've heard it all. So I have this. I'm slowly forming this picture of how it was, which I had no idea how it was in your era, your time, not even the late 60s, but even in the 70s, and I had interviewed Chico Ipura and also Bobby Balingit, and they're the punk rock guys who came in the late 70s. So I have an
Yeah,
idea of what was happening then. It's amazing. It's just amazing because now I have this knowledge that whatever was happening in the States, the Philippines has a parallel universe of its own thing.
yeah. That's a good way to describe it.
It's amazing. And now it's just reinforced. It's like we had our own Woodstock. It wasn't 500,000 people, but it was 10,000 people. That's a lot of people to be peaceful
Right,
around.
yeah, well, relatively, with the relative populations, that's not
Oh
a
yeah,
that's not a tiny crowd.
that's not a tiny crowd. Yeah, so it's like when surf rock happened in here, there was already surf rock bands there
Yeah,
because I just interviewed Nides Ransom Indes, the drummer, and his early bands in the '60s were
they
all
were
these
they were
Ventures and Shadows and all
yeah,
that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
not only that, they were actually surfing in Lingayen.
Oh really?
Yeah, they were not there was no Siargao or any, like, not yet, no. But the
Wow.
waves were China Sea were on the west, no. So Lingayen Gulf had waves, and Makati guys, like some guys from AS in the early '60s to mid '60s, would go up there and surfing,
Oh wow.
and
What's AS?
American School.
Oh, American
It
School.
became, that's what IS was before, and then
AS became IS.
yeah, in 1970, the year I graduated high school,
Mhm.
AS changed their name to IS because
Uh,
it wasn't fair, all these nationalities, and then
yeah.
American School, no? So it became International School Manila.
Oh wow.
So
Oh, so those dudes would go up to Lingayen and surf.
yes, they would.
Shit.
They would.
See, no one knows this, man.
And they
No
were
one
they
knows
were
this.
they were there were DJs who were surfing,
Uh-huh.
DJs for Boss Radio. I don't know if you remember Boss Radio. What was RJ called before? Was it anyway? There were some radio stations before in the '60s,
Yeah.
and a cousin-in-law of mine, the brother of my sister-in-law, he passed already. Jimmy Labrador. He was a
Mhm.
surfer and he was a DJ, and
Oh,
He went to AS. He was in Makati way.
wow.
But he used to tell me one, and you know who else was his erstwhile surfing buddy was GMA, if you can believe it.
Who?
I don't know how. GMA, the former president.
Really?
Yeah,
Gloria was a
Gloria
surfer?
used to surf. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how good she was, but she would go out there and surf with the guys up in Lingayen.
Wow. Holy shit.
Can you believe that shit?
I can't believe it, but hey,
I
man,
know.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God. See, this is all this information is very it's treasure. It's treasure because it's part of Filipino culture that's been forgotten, really.
Yeah.
It's been forgotten. It's been forgotten that the young kids now don't even know. They don't even know, man. And if they knew all of these stories, they'd be proud too. They'd be like, "Oh shit, we had our own pala." You know, we don't have to bow down to other countries when regards to, especially when it regards to art and music, because we hold our own. You
Oh,
know,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing to be, to feel like second class about ever,
exactly.
ever.
Yeah,
Even
ever.
even before colonization started, they're the
Mm,
indigenous tribes, some deep their music and their art, man. It's just incredible,
yeah, yeah,
the original people of the land, that the First Nations. That's the real. That's the shit right there.
yeah.
You
That's the
know.
shit right there, man. It, yeah, it's like it's it and yeah, it's just amazing to hear that all of that stuff happened, and then of course they did their own Jesus Christ Superstar. um
Oh,
I
I have a
mean,
story about that.
oh, then go ahead. No
Guess
name,
well,
you don't have to have names, but
no, no,
it's
I
fun.
can
Okay,
give names for this one.
okay,
Well,
okay.
now this time that I'm telling you about, I
Mm,
grew my hair already. So by Antipolo, my hair was down to here, no,
right, uh-huh.
and I had a full beard.
Wow.
So guess who was pegged and slated to play Jesus Christ in the musical?
Oh my God.
There was
Shit.
a production meeting, I remember, and Wali's older brother,
Yeah.
I think his name was Dodi,
Dodi, yeah.
Dodi Gonzalez. He was part of the production, committee. Yeah, and there are all these other names I forget already. And anyway, uh, it so happened that the production meeting, they were going to do all the casting, right?
Yeah.
Oh, where's Razon? What happened to what happened to Bo? He got a haircut. Ah,
Oh shit.
oh man! This was a couple of weeks. I got my visa to go to San Francisco. I mean, I got my ticket to go to San Francisco. So I had to cut all my hair.
For the picture.
That was no, the deal with my dad was, rest in peace, Dad.
Uh-huh.
Was, you want a ticket? Well, you cut your hair. Dude, I had to have my ticket to San Francisco. And I told my man, that hair's gonna grow back.
Yeah.
I cut it from freak style, right?
Yeah.
Freak style to like,
Oh, military style.
not military, but
Oh.
clean cut business style.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then I actually snuck into the production meeting. I remember now. It's all coming back to me.
Okay.
And nobody recognized me. So when
And did you have your beard? Did you shave your beard?
No, I shaved everything. I shaved the beard. I shaved the hair down to here. I shaved everything.
Yeah.
Nobody
Right.
recognized me. I was kind of hiding in the back because I didn't want them to get pissed off because they wanted me to play because I was like
Yeah.
I remember because we at one time we were living in Santa Cruz near the Surbaran market, and when I was in my freak days back, I used to go to the Surbaran market,
Yeah.
Surbaran, right, Central Market by
Yeah.
Surbaran, and all these kids would follow me.
Yeah.
Uy, si Cristo. Like I was like a fucking Pied Piper, man.
Yeah.
All these kids following me, like.
Oh my God.
So Dodi and all those other production committee would say, "Man, we gotta get Bo." It's just like
Why nobody else had that look? Nobody else had the
Well,
full
I guess
beard.
I had the full beard and it was a
Ah.
little bit brown, a little
Oh, right.
the soy thing. I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But anyway, and then in the meeting, all of a sudden, oh shit, there he is. So what the fuck happened to your hair? Oh, now you can't be Jesus Christ now.
Yeah.
Look at your hair. You look like a CEO of Johnson and Johnson, Procter and
Yeah.
Gamble.
Oh shit.
So
So who?
that was the end of my casting for Superstar.
Wow. So who ended up playing Jesus? Do you know?
I think it was it Boy Camera or
Oh yeah, boy camera. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. And then Juan Dela Cruz was the band, right? Or were they already Juan Dela Cruz there,
Okay,
or was it just?
so that's that time, when they were starting rehearsal, a production meeting. That's
Yeah.
when I left for
Oh,
San.
that's when okay.
When I left the second time back to the States, and where I didn't come back till the 90s.
Wow. So what?
So
So let's go through that. I mean, what was your life like in the 70s? What was
well,
here in America in the 70s? Oh my
yeah.
God!
So I was still totally immersed in rock and blues. So
Shit.
the first 5 years were playing, rock and blues and funk. I
Mm-hmm.
was in a couple of funk bands. But let me tell you, so the first, like in the mid 70s, and I met. I got to tell you this story. You know Johnny Winter, right? The
Oh
albino.
yeah. Uh-huh.
This guy, to me, is one of the
Oh
underrated, but
dude.
one of the hottest.
Oh dude. He was
He was a
shredding in the 60s. You know.
he was an idol, man.
Yeah.
He was a god for me. Dude, one time, me and my buddy, Manila buddy, Eddie Soleta, he changed his name, but it's Eddie Salman from San Lorenzo.
Mm-hmm.
We both were in San Francisco together, so we were playing. He was a bass player, and I played guitar. One night, I can't remember 70. I think it was in 74 or 75. We were in a club in North Beach, San Francisco North Beach area.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we look over a couple of tables. Who should we see but Johnny Winter?
Oh my God.
So we were
Long white hair.
long white hair. He's like, the club is dark, so he appears blue,
my-
not white.
Yeah, blue.
He looks
Oh
blue.
wow.
He looks like those. He looked like extraterrestrial,
Yeah, like an alien. Yeah,
like
yeah.
an alien. And
Yeah.
he was with a couple of guys in his band. I think the bass player and the drummer.
Hmm.
So we were fearless back then. When you're young, you're just
Yeah.
balls to the wall, right?
Yeah.
So we go chat him up. Hey Johnny, dude, I'm a big fan. You're just a great guitar player. Thank you, man. The guy was zonked. He was zonked out of his mind. So, so we're chatting him up. What are you doing after? Well, I don't know. Just hanging out. Hey, you want to come over to our flat? We had a flat in near Divisadero in San Francisco.
Nice.
And he said, "Yeah, sure." I said,
Oh, shit.
we got some really good stuff. Like some cattail, sticky, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh
sticky
yeah,
icky.
I'm definitely coming over. So, dude, Johnny Winter came over to our house,
Oh man.
and he brought his drummer with him. So there are two of them.
Yeah.
So Eddie and I, I'm shitting in my pants, man. I can't really figuratively, right?
Yeah.
But I can't believe this is happening. He comes to our flat, and then you set him up in the living room. I give him the guitar. I pick up my guitar. It's just all acoustic
goddamn
guitars.
padre.
So I'm about 2-3 feet away with one of my idols, Johnny Winter. I'm about to jam with him,
Yeah.
and he gets off a lick. The guy is really zonked, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going. So I start to back up. Boom, 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 gang, go, go, go. So he start.
Yeah.
He falls flat on his face on our carpet in the living room. Putang ina, pare. The guy was so zonked that he
passed
just
out?
passed out. I guess he had done some other stuff, some
Yeah.
line, whatever,
Maybe had some quaaludes or something.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't. And then I said, "Holy shit, Johnny Winter's gonna die in our fucking." What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
We'll be notorious in we'll be infamous in a bad way.
Yeah.
Those are the dudes that killed Johnny Winter. So I looked. So we looked at the drummer. What's going on? Oh man, he goes, don't sweat it, guys. This happens all the time. You got a bucket. So we had a tabo, in the
Yeah.
back behind the kitchen. So we get this tabo, fill it up with water. Yeah, that's it. And he just dumps the water on Johnny Winter, slaps him around a bit, and then after a couple of minutes, Johnny comes to, what happened? What happened? So instead
Oh
of
my
instead of telling my grandchildren I jammed with Johnny Winter, I'll have to say I nearly jammed, but he was in our house.
Yeah. He nearly jammed. So what
That's-
happened? What happened when he woke up? He's like, oh, we gotta go, man. She's like,
Well, we had to help him. We had to help him up on his feet.
uh-huh.
Me and Eddie and the drummer. I forget the drummer's name. It was this mid-70s, whoever his drummer was.
Right.
And we, because we're the flats in San Francisco. We were on the middle.
Yeah.
So the one with the stairways.
Yeah.
Middle level. So we had to help him down the stairs. The drummer,
Oh, damn.
with his he was hanging on to us.
Yeah.
Like that. So we had
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
and then just gently put him in their car, and they drove away, and that was it. That was my Johnny Winter.
Oh my
encounter.
God, buddy.
I'll never forget it, man.
Oh my God, that is amazing. And of all people, Johnny Winter. Oh my God.
Yeah, it could have been anybody, right?
It could have been anybody.
It was Johnny Winter, and that guy was one of the hottest guitar players. Like,
Oh yeah.
Texas. He put Texas blues on the map, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
I mean, with all due respect to the OGs, right?
Yeah.
But he was really something else, man.
He was
Is Edgar still alive? I think he
Edgar
is.
Winter, Edgar Winter's still alive. Yeah. Johnny Winter passed away already.
Some time ago.
Yeah.
But
I remember getting into Johnny Winter. I bought his Captured Live album.
oh man,
It's a live album, and it's him in the front, with the big elevator shoes, the platform
Yeah.
shoes,
Right,
and
right.
the Firebird and the long hair. Oh, the Firebird, and then
I love
the first song is Boney Maroney. And he's on fire. I can't.
oh yeah.
When I was listening to the first time, it's like, wow, I did not know Johnny Winter could play like this, man.
Oh man, he
I-
was one of the greats. Truly,
Yeah.
truly
Yeah.
one of the greats.
Truly.
But he never got that super status like the others, But
Yeah, well, he never came out with a pop song. I think
he never because he was
Yeah.
uncompromising.
Yeah. He was really pure blues.
Also, he had some substance issues.
Right.
Which I think that kind of hampered his
His reputation.
well, or just his sustainability.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw Johnny Winter ever, because when I was starting with Wolfgang and the band, I would always, my connection to America would always be Guitar World magazine. They have, in the 90s, they'd have these magazine stores where you could buy any magazine that came out anywhere in the world. It'd be so expensive, 350 pesos, but I would read all my music news from Rolling Stone magazine, Guitar World, all the music magazines.
Right.
And when I saw Johnny Winter, he was already older at the time, but he looked cool. He had a sleeveless black shirt, with the tattoo sleeves, the cowboy hat, and the white hair. And I was like, who the fuck is this?
No, badass. Really
Badass.
One of the OG badasses. I
Yeah.
mean, I even though I jammed with him all of 27 seconds, I will treasure that
Oh my gosh.
forever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
plus, he was a very soft spoken.
Mhm.
I mean, he of course he was pretty stoned that night, but
Yeah.
he didn't come off like anybody else with his stature, Wolf,
Yeah.
would just tell me and Eddie, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, like fuck off.
You
Yeah.
know, don't bother me. This superstar shit. This
Yeah, yeah.
attitude, but not him, man. He was just like the guy at the next table.
Yeah.
You know what I
The
mean?
guy at the
Just
next
like
thing.
a fellow rocker, a
Yeah.
fellow guitar player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A fellow musician.
Wow.
That's it, man. So down to earth, Wolf. I'm telling you, bro.
That was fun. That's a fun story, man.
Yeah.
So let's
Well, sorry. How
no,
long
no,
are
no.
we?
I love it. I love it, dude. No, 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 no. I love it. No, I just want to transition to your Latin music.
Okay.
Yeah, because now we've established that you're a true blue rock and roller blues man. You love all that shit. Yeah, but now there's a different dimension coming.
So,
Mm.
around 1977, I've been playing, rock and R&B and blues. I got into R&B and soul. I was playing in
Yeah.
cover bands. I had to make a living. I was going to school too. I went to music school at um, uh, some junior college in Marin,
Mhm.
and when I lived, so from San Francisco, I moved to Marin County across the bridge.
Yeah.
Lived in Mill Valley and San Anselmo and San Rafael. And I got some stories there. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, man.
I got some more stories.
Yeah.
But anyway, I moved into this house full of jazz musicians in, after San Francisco. And they were the guy, somehow I got connected to somebody and they said, hey, somebody's moving out of this room. Because everybody used to share rooms, no?
Yeah.
I guess even now it's expensive.
Yeah.
But even back then,
Uh-huh.
you couldn't afford to rent a house by yourself,
Yeah.
especially
Right.
especially musicians, right? So
Yeah.
so we had to, there's this big house in San Anselmo. There's a guy leaving because he's going on the road on tour, and the room will be available like next week. And are you interested? I said, yeah, I'll look at it. So I looked at it, and nice house, nice room, nice people. I said, who was in this room? Oh, this guy, this guitar player. Oh, I play guitar. So I said, and what? He's going on the road. Who is he going on the road with? Somebody,
Yeah.
he's going on the road with Chick Corea.
Holy shit.
What? Yeah,
Oh
this
my
band,
God.
this new band called Return to Forever.
Oh no shit, that was Aldi Miola?
Dude, no,
Oh.
the first one, Billy
first-
Connors.
Oh wow.
Billy Connors moved out of that room that I moved into. He was the first dude. I actually him to the Seventh Galaxy, the very first
Oh.
Return to Forever, right before Demiola. So I think he lasted. I don't know how long he lasted with Chick, but then after him was Demiola.
Did he record an album with the Return to Forever?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Him to the Seventh Galaxy.
Him to the
That-
Seventh Galaxy. Okay.
Look that up. That's Billy Connors. That's
Okay.
the guy whose room I
Oh
moved
my
into.
gosh.
So Billy's on the road with Chick,
Uh-huh.
and I'm enjoying this house because I had never played jazz before. I mean, I love jazz,
Yeah.
but it doesn't love me as much. It
Right.
it loves me a little bit,
Yeah.
but I love it more. But anyway, everybody was a jazz musician. There was an upright bass player. Another story about that guy. There was a trumpet player. There was a sax player, and there was a drummer.
Oh my
they were
God,
like
in the same
they were all in the
house?
same house. They were like Berkeley cats, right? Back in the 70s, right? This guy. So the drummer, Steve Josell, who lived in the back room, he just come out from Berkeley. His classmate, pare, was Harvey Mason.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Harvey Mason.
Shit.
So he was a great drummer, but he was uncompromising. He didn't want to do any commercial shit.
Oh, okay.
And then there was a trumpet player from Seattle, just sort of like a Lester Young type. I mean, there were just these heavy jazz dudes, and they
Yeah.
taught me so much, man. I learned about jazz. I started doing jazz gigs when I lived there. I lived there for about 3 or 4 years. They started bringing me to the gigs. I was like the baby of the
Shit.
group. But then I had to learn, like baptism of fire, right?
Yeah.
I started from playing rock and funk and blues. I learned how to play or solo over changes, to my mind.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
learned, I got the fake book, and I learned how to play standards. So it was a very. And then one day, somebody said, "Hey, somebody's outside. Like Stanley Clark was in San Francisco. He wanted to shoot some hoops, right?"
Okay.
So they came and picked up one of the guys who lived in our house across, in Marin.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it was now. I think it was might have been the trumpet player, but because this was a drummer friend of Stanley. Stanley wasn't in the car. This was this drummer friend who had a Pinay or Mestiza Philam girlfriend
Uh-huh.
named Jessica Hagedorn.
Uy.
She wrote some books. She was a poet. She was
Yeah.
a great artist. Okay.
Yeah.
And so this boyfriend was the drummer, it turns out, for Weather Report. His name was Eric Gravatt.
Uh-huh.
He was the guy driving the car, and I look outside. I look out the window, and
Yeah.
it's Eric Gravatt is driving the car, right?
So he's
And-
he's before Alex Acuna.
Yeah, before.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
he's one of, they had quite a few. So Eric Gravatt,
Uh-huh.
and I forget which album it was. I Sing the Body Electric, or I forget.
Yeah.
But then his girlfriend, not Jennifer,
Jessica.
Hagedorn,
Yeah.
and she wrote a book called The Dog Eaters,
Yeah. I
But
heard
anyway,
about, yeah.
she was the girlfriend. So
Uh-huh.
they picked up the guy from my house, and then they went back to San Francisco to go shoot some hoops with Stanley Clark. So I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm always in the periphery, right?
Yeah.
But so these are some of the experiences. Then I moved to the next town, San Rafael, where I saw Phil Lesh was shopping at the grocery store on the corner.
Yeah.
Around
Phil
around
Lesh is the bass player of the Grateful Dead.
Yes. And then Peter Monu was living right up the street. He's a great guitar player. He toured with Frank Sinatra Jr. And then I would say I chatted one time. We had a local bar named George's in San Rafael on the main drag's called 4th Street, downtown San Rafael.
Mhm.
And I walk in the bar one time, and Neil Sean is just there looking bored, standing by the bar. So I go chat him up, and hey Neil, what's going on?
God.
But this way, people tell me, oh yeah, bullshit. But where's the picture? Where's the picture? I said,
Yeah.
ain't no fucking picture, man. We didn't walk around. We didn't have phones. I didn't walk around carrying an Instamatic,
Yeah.
with a roll of film, take
Yeah,
a
and, that,
picture.
and it wouldn't be cool to Neil Sean if he's like, hey man, what's up? Hey, can we picture? And then you leave him. It's like, that's not cool, right?
You just have to take my word for it,
Yeah, exactly.
So Neil Sean, and there's just a jam with some of the Journey guys up on stage because they had live music at George's. So
Wow.
this is the kind of thing that was going on,
Wow.
when I lived in the Bay Area.
So wait,
Now-
when you were living with those jazz guys, how much jamming were you doing in the house?
Every day,
Oh fuck!
every day.
Shit.
The bass player, he had upright.
Was there a drummer in the house too?
Yeah, it's the guy from Berkeley, Steve
Oh,
Josell.
Wow. Okay.
But he had some mental health issues.
Uh-huh.
He threw his trap kits outside the window. He was on the second floor. He threw it
Oh
out
my
the window.
god.
But anyway, let me tell you about the bass player
Yeah.
who lived in the basement. The whole basement was his. He converted it
nice.
into a room. He was
Yeah.
an upright player. He had an electric, but he didn't like to play it that much. He was a upright bass player. And he got so sick and tired of all the fake books back in the day because a lot of them had wrong changes. And they were all just scratched on the Xerox photocopy and pasted and stapled together. So
like
he got-
tablature and stuff like that.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
so the charts. The
charts. Yeah,
and standard.
music charts.
He got so pissed off and frustrated with that he got this idea of compiling them and publishing them. Like a business venture. And he did it, and he called it the Real Book Series. Bam! He hit it, man. He hit the
really?
He hit the jackpot. Have you heard of the Real Book? This like the jazz.
No, I haven't. But
The Real Book Series. His name is Chuck Sher, Sher, and then he branched off into the Real Latin Book, the Latin Real Book.
so what's that?
Jazz.
He would notarize everything. He would.
Yeah, he would notate.
Notate.
Everything.
I mean, notate.
And then
No,
it
notarize.
was- I have one right here. I'll show you.
Okay.
Because
Notarize.
These are the. I thought I had it. Oh, here's one. For example,
Mm.
the Latin real book. See,
Oh,
and then you have all the
oh, those are all
charts, the
standards.
standards. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. He
For
did
Latin,
that?
he did all of this, man. His
Oh,
name is.
my
This was my
God.
roommate, Chuck Shear. Yeah. See, Share Music. Share.
Share. Okay.
Okay, so that's
Sherer.
and then there's one for jazz. There's one for, and
Oh,
then
my
he
God.
also published this one, the jazz
Jazz
theory.
Theory
These
book.
are classics. See, so
Wow.
this dude was my roommate, man,
Oh, my God.
in that house full of jazz musicians in Marin.
Oh,
Well,
man. I
and
can't.
then shortly after the jazz phase, I got invited to play with a Latin group. I'm sorry, I
Mm.
didn't mean to interrupt. You were
No,
saying
no, no,
something.
no, go ahead. No, I'm just
Um,
being all fan. I'm all fanboying out now.
anyway, this was about, I want to say 78 going into 79. I had always kind of dug, Latin music. Well, Woodstock, when Santana blew in the
Yeah,
scene, there was nothing like that ever before. I
yeah.
mean, I remember when I was 5 years old, my parents had in Manila had the 78 RPM vinyls. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you
Yeah.
remember
Oh, yeah.
of Cuban music, like
Cuban music.
Latin, Cuban and Latin, Javier Cugat and Perez Prado. These were mambo because it was big in Manila.
Mambo.
Well, it was
Yeah.
big around the world back
Around
in
the
the
world. Yeah.
40s and the 50s.
Uh-huh.
In fact, the whole big band jazz and Afro-Cuban uh, uh,
Fusion.
marriage, yeah,
Yeah.
fusion with Dizzy Gillespie,
Mm.
that old Stan Ken. There was a lot of Cuban music influence. But
Yeah.
anyway, fast forward to the late 70s, I started reviving that, and I remembered it from my childhood. I said, "Oh, this is the stuff my parents used to dance to," And I
Yeah.
said, "Man, this." And then I started trying to analyze it, and I said, "Holy shit, this is like jazz. It's not as simple as it sounds.
Yeah.
When you try to play it, it's not."
Yeah.
So I went. That started my serious study of Cuban music. Well, at first it was just Latin music generically,
Yeah.
and I joined this group, and then I shortly found out where all that stuff was coming from, and it was coming from Cuba.
Cuba.
So right early 80s, I dove in headfirst into my study up till now, lifelong study of Cuban music and
Wow.
Afro-Cuban and Caribbean music by extension.
So when did you live in Cuba?
Oh, I didn't live in Cuba.
Oh.
I studied in Cuba. I was there a few months each time. Well,
Oh, okay.
I mean, I guess you could say I lived there for a
Yeah,
few
you live.
months,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
but uh,
What's it like? I mean,
well,
that
this
is such a.
was
I mean, because Cuba, especially for Americans, because Americans aren't allowed there. I mean, it's such a mysterious.
no. Americans are
Yeah.
allowed there. You
Oh,
just
yeah.
can't. You just can't. Well, now when I went there in the 90s, it was you could go there as long as you had a State Department stamp and you
Mm.
did not spend any
Dog.
dollars over there. But I went under educational um,
Mm.
and auspices of an educational institution. I
Right.
went. I went there for research, and and then the second time I went, I was already teaching at UP, so I
Yeah.
had so I had the approval of the State Department. So
Uh,
and you can go if you say it's for you want to do some research at least before,
yeah.
and as long as we weren't allowed to buy a bunch of stuff and cigars and then bring it back to the States.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
I did buy a bunch of cigars and bring it back to Manila.
In the Manila. Yeah. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah. So what's it like in Cuba? I mean, what's life like there? I mean, the only glimpse I had of it was in that documentary of Buena Vista. That's the earliest memory I could remember of seeing Cuba and how they lived. But what was it
Yeah.
like?
Well, um, that's a really multi-layered question. So
Question.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna try to just.
I mean, your experience. In your
My
experience.
experience
Yeah.
was, since it was like, for me, since I was really into the music, into the culture, it was like stepping into, Mecca, or
Mm.
the holy land for Latin music. This was the
Yeah.
source. This was the
Yeah.
source of all that stuff that I'd been playing, studying, researching, and grooving to. It was the land where it all came from. So
Yeah.
for me, it was a very fulfilling and satisfying experience. But however, I
Mm.
caught glimpses of how the Cubans actually lived, and they made do with very little,
Yeah.
because they had rationing, and this was right after the Soviet Union collapsed.
Oh
So
wow.
this was in the 90s, when
Yeah.
what the Cubans called the quote special period, which meant like really hard, because before that everything was subsidized. The Soviet
Yeah.
Union
Soviet Union. Yeah.
subsidized a lot, but
Yeah.
after the collapse, when early 90s,
Uh huh.
Cuba became very, very affected or adversely affected by it. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of rationing, and ordinary Cubans, they got by because they're such a strong people, and
They are a strong people.
they're
Yeah.
they're strong people. But you could tell that there were things that could have been better,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
culturally, and with the arts, and with education, things were strong. They were okay.
What was it like for your? Did you go to class? What was
Yeah,
it like?
I went to what's called the ENA, which stands for the Escuela Nacional de Arte, which is the National School of the Arts. I
Mm-hmm.
took some master classes there for Cuban folkloric music,
Wow.
and Afro-Cuban
Do you
folklore.
know you speak Spanish? I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you know how to speak Spanish already?
Yes, I
Okay.
I got by with the Cubans speaking Spanish.
Okay.
So, but anyway, the first time I went was through a program, and they made it easier to get the State Department sanction, or the stamp,
Mm,
permit. So, because you go as a group. But then after the master classes were over, after a few weeks, we had the option, and a lot, and which I took. People who wanted to stay longer
mm,
took that option. So I took
mm.
the option to stay longer, and traveled around on my own a little bit, and made some Cuban friends, and hung around a little bit longer. And then the second time I went, a couple of years later, I was already teaching in UP, but it was under the auspices of um, the Anthropological Society of Cuba, Sociedad Antropológica de Cuba.
Mm.
And this time I didn't stay in Havana. I went to the other, out in the provinces, the more remote, rural areas, where heavy African culture still existed.
Wow.
And I met people whose grandfathers came from,
Came
slave
from Africa. Were
came from
slave.
Africa. Yeah, they were still. I met this
Wow.
94, 93-year old man, and he was telling me his grandpa was from Africa, and he still remembers his grandpa telling him
Shit.
stories
Was
coming
he
from Africa.
was he still totally black, or was he already mulatto?
A little bit mulatto.
A little
A little
bit
bit
mulatto
mulatto,
already.
yeah.
Wow.
In fact,
Wow.
this was the town where the one I'm talking about, where I met this old man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a city called Matanzas. It's where Celia Cruz. In fact, this old man that I'm telling you about, as I'm
Mm.
looking around his house, I see pictures, and it's this young black girl. Like, must have been 14. I said, that's a really familiar looking face. It turns out it's Celia Cruz.
Celia Cruz.
When she was a teenager, when she was
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
really young in Cuba, and
Oh, she was already like a star when she was
no,
young.
no, 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 no,
Oh.
no. Before her stardom, she was still.
Oh.
Well, she could already sing. I mean, she was known around their barrio or
Oh,
whatever.
that was where she was from. Okay.
Yeah, that's where
Wow.
she was from.
Wow.
She lived a couple of streets away, according to this old guy.
Wow.
So I said, well, wonders never cease.
Yeah, I know, right?
Dude, I should write a book, huh?
Yeah, you should, man.
I got to
This
work on
is
that.
this is really good, man. This is good stuff. Um, so you went to Cuba twice. You play congas too, right? You play
Yeah.
percussion.
Well, I studied percussion in Cuba.
That's where you studied percussion.
Yeah.
Because you're really good.
Formally.
You're a really good percussion player too.
Well, when I in the Philippines and during the 90s when I lived there,
yeah.
I mean, there's so many great guitar players. I stopped playing guitar for 10 years. I said,
Okay.
you know what? Guitar players, a dime a dozen here. And there's so many great guitar players. I'm just going to kick back. And besides, I've always, after, especially I came back from Cuba,
Yeah, yeah,
I got into percussion, and I got all my gigs were all percussion and some bass, with my band in Havana.
yeah.
But I for at least 10 years or more in Manila. I lived in Manila 15 years before I came back here to the States.
Oh, okay.
From early 1991 to 2006, 2007. Anyway, I had all my gigs were percussion, congas and stuff.
My gosh. Did you know you had rhythm like that? Percussion rhythm.
Yeah, well, I always was attracted to the rhythmic aspect, especially even with guitar. And
Were
let me
you
tell
were you were you comfortable on a drum kit?
I could kind of kick around on the drums, but not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call myself a trap kit drummer.
Okay,
a
right.
drum
Okay.
kit, because that's a whole, focus. That's a whole focus study.
Yeah.
You have to, as you're a drummer, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to do that and study and work on it, and for a long time
Yeah.
before you can call yourself. I mean, everybody can get on the throne and do like four on the floor, whatever. I mean, I
Yeah.
can, I can do a little reggae on it, little
Yeah.
songo, but little
No,
two
but
and
I was
four
just I was
backbeat.
I was just asking because since the congas came naturally to you, then you had
Yeah,
rhythm. You
the
have
rhythm. Yeah,
yeah. You're not you have the swing. You have that swing.
right.
Yeah.
And that's transferred to the guitar. So now I'm playing more guitar now.
Right. Yeah.
I'm still playing percussion, but the nice thing is that the what I learned in Cuba with the percussion arts and the techniques and the rhythms, I now apply that to the guitar.
Yeah.
So, or also in writing tunes, so that knowledge is you can transpose it to the guitar, from the drums to the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Like certain rhythmic motifs and certain riffs,
Yeah.
rhythmic cells or rhythm riffs, in Afro-Cuban music, for example. You can kind of put it together because it's all interlocking drum parts, right? That's how the shit works, right?
Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
so you could transpose those to like the strings or
I
whatever.
have on my Instagram. I started following percussionists
Yeah.
and
Congas.
yeah, like timbaleros and congueros
Oh
and
man.
yeah,
Hey,
wow.
you know about Pedrito Martinez, right?
Oof,
You got
I
you
don't
got
know. I mean,
you
yeah,
gotta follow this guy.
yeah, Pedrito Martinez.
Yeah, this Cubano guy, but
Yeah.
he lives in New York now. He's been in New York for a while. But this guy is the absolute shit, man.
Oh my god.
Okay, let me give you some names, dude.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Pedrito Martinez.
He's a conga player.
Well, he's
All around.
oh yeah, but his conga setup, he has a snare on the side, he has a cajon, and then
Oh.
his left foot is doing the bell, his right foot's doing the clave. He's
Oh
got
my
some other.
god.
He's like a freaking octopus, man. Okay. Another name,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Daphnis Prieto.
Okay.
Dafnis. Another
Daphnis.
another Cuban guy. This
Uh-huh.
guy's a trap drummer.
Okay.
Check this freaking guy out.
They're on Instagram, these people.
Yeah, Daphnis Prieto
Daphnis Prieto.
and Pedrito Martinez. That's just those two alone, Wolf. Check
Oh
those
my
boys out, man.
God.
That's why as soon as I heard Cuban music, that's it. This is gonna
Yeah.
be my life. This is
Yeah.
my life because at the end of my life, if I'm lucky, I'll have picked up, maybe the tip of the iceberg.
Oh my gosh. I can't even. It's like, I have a friend, and then sometimes when, pre-pandemic, we would go to his house, and he has a lot of instruments, a lot of guitars, and there's a conga set, and I would set up the congas, and there were three congas. He's a rich guy, so he had the full set. I'm like, wow, look, conga set, three congas, and I try my best to mimic because and it's just like, no, I'm not doing it correctly. And then now that I see these guys on Instagram, it's like there are three tones with just the ping ping, that of the conga. There's three tones of that. I'm like, oh shit, okay, I'm just gonna play. I'm just gonna play the djembe. It's much
Yeah, no,
easier.
no, it's a lifelong. It's a discipline.
Yes,
It's a hard,
I
and the thing I was used to rail about. Now I've mellowed out a little bit in my golden years.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's this misconception about drums. That anybody can just go up there and start banging away. Like, and I'll say, would you go up to somebody, a bandstand or wherever, and get the saxophone from the guy
No.
and
Yeah.
start playing it? Would you
No.
would you do that with the violin? You wouldn't. You wouldn't even do
Yeah.
that with the guitar. Why are you doing it with the conga? Because that's a legitimate instrument that takes
Yes.
years and
Exactly.
years of study to
Yeah.
even play out. You know what I mean? I mean, that
Yeah.
slap alone, that slap tone, it took me a
Yeah.
long time to get
Oh
that,
yeah, I know. Yeah, like, and then I would see, because I am a mega Santana fan. I have the Abraxas angel on my back, a tattoo. My full back is the angel with the
Whoa,
conga.
dude.
Yeah, dude, that's how
I
serious I
gotta
am.
tell you something else, dude.
Okay, wait. Let me finish this first.
I know, I'm
So
sorry.
no, it's great. It's okay. I love it. But when I got into Santana, it was already the big Santana band with Raul Rico. And oh my God,
He's my homeboy.
Raul Rico is a
Rest in peace.
monster. Rest in peace.
Raul is my SF Mission homeboy.
Wow.
We were like,
Damn.
and you know who else? Carl Perazo.
Carl
He's my
Perazo also.
He's my
Wow.
homeboy.
Damn.
We're
Carl
homies.
Perazo, my God. Isa pa yan. My God.
Yeah.
But Carl Perazo, I mean, Raul Rico, I mean, he would just, I'm like, how is this guy playing like that and smiling? Because he's like the smiling the whole time, right?
No, he's a dapper dude, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Wolf, do you remember when Santana? I'm sure you saw when
Dude.
Santana came to play
Manila.
in Araneta '94.
Yeah. No, 96. I remember it.
Was that '96? Okay.
Yeah. I actually met Carlos in the press conference in Manila Hotel.
Great.
So, yeah.
Well, so my homeboys called me up.
Yeah.
Yo, Bo, your homies are in town. So I heard. So, dude, we're just so bored, man. They heard I was living in Manila at that time.
Oh, okay.
So come pick us up. So I picked them up at the Manila Hotel.
Nice.
Carl and Raul. And Raul had a very interesting request. He says, "Hey, man, listen, bro. That sightseeing. There's one thing, because it turns out his dad was he's Filipino Polish. Raul.
Oh, his
Rico.
dad?
He's
really?
Filipino Polish. So he said, before my dad died, he said, promised me, son, if you ever make it to Manila, Philippines, you'll go to this church where I used to go to when I was a kid, where I used to, and then there's a very special. So when they were in Manila that time for Carlos's concert,
wow,
they pick us up. I picked them up, and that's the first where I thought it was Paco Church, man. I took him to Paco, and Raul was just so Carl and I were chatting up. So we hadn't seen each other in years.
Yeah, yeah.
And we just left Raul, and the church was closed, no? Peña Francia around there, you know. And somehow Raul found the caretaker, talked him into. He was going to climb through the window. He had to go inside, and then he got in because he told the story to the caretaker.
Yeah.
Let him in the chapel, man. And dude, it was just so.
Wow, that is
know,
amazing.
His father's dying wish.
That's
He was able
amazing.
to do it, and I said, dude, this is pretty heavy.
This is very heavy.
Thank you, Bo, man. Like, you know, and then so we went back to the hotel,
Wow.
and here's the story. Carl, okay, what are you guys gonna do now? So the show is over, right? So Raul said, "Oh, I'm just gonna hang with Bo. We're gonna, you know, I haven't seen him. We're gonna talk, you know, just chat, talk story.
Yeah.
Are you gonna stay? Oh man, I'll talk to this. So I'm gonna go with Chester and the boys. So Chester Thompson, right?
Chester Thompson, yeah.
So they get into this coaster. So we're in the lobby. So where are you guys going? Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna go for some entertainment. You know, Manila Nightlife.
Yeah.
I already knew it. All right. So this was still early. I don't know when, 10 p.m. something, 11 p.m. by that time. And then we go up to Raul's. You know Jose Dufort, the percussionist, is my friend. Anyway, I brought Jose with me. Me and Jose, we go up to Raul and Carl's room. So we talked with Raul. We had the heaviest conversation. We talked about spiritism and you know, Santeria and Apollo, afro-Cuban religions. It turns out he's a very spiritual guy. He's into the afro-Cuban religions, you know, because that's where a lot of the drum rhythms come from.
Yeah.
They originate. So anyway, we talk and talk. Next thing you know, it's 2 a.m. Wow. 2:30 a.m. So I go, Raul, we got to get home, man. It's, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, man, it's a great night. So we come down the lobby, and as we're coming, you know, Manila Hotel, you know, the front desk, here comes the coaster pulling up with Carl and Chester and the guy. So Chester and the other bros start piling out of the shuttle, I mean, the coaster.
The coaster, yeah.
With you know, and Carl, I'm not going to say because it's not PC, but anyway.
Yeah.
Carl was I said, where's Carl? Where the hell? Did they leave him there? Carl comes. He's the last guy coming out of the band of the coaster. He's got this look like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Carl, what's the matter? Oh, you guys still here? Yeah, we're leaving now. We were talking all night. Well, what happened? Why do you look so downtrodden?
Yeah.
Man, I felt like a meat rack in Somalia. Those were his exact words. I felt like I went to a meat market in Somalia. You know, Carl is a pretty funny dude. He's got that wry sense of humor.
It's blowing my mind that you're calling him Carl.
Well, that's the only one I've known Carl since the late 70s when he was a kid. He was a kid. He used to jam with us. We call descarga, you know, Cuban jams, Latin jams. He was still like in his late.
Oh
teens.
yeah, he was. What is he younger than Raul?
In the Mission. Yeah, he's still a little young. This was in the Mission District in San Francisco. I'll tell you who used to come, because we used to have this Cuban Latin jams every weekend, and I would play this, you know, the tres, and we had people like Richie Kermode playing, you know, he's gone now. Richie Kermode playing keyboards, and Coke Escovedo would come in once in a while and jam, and then this little teeny bopper girl would peep. She was young, so she couldn't come into the club, but we'd see her peeping, like hanging out by the door, watching her uncles, Pete and Coke. It was Sheila E. Yeah.
Oh,
she was
my God.
She's like 12, 13 years old, man.
Oh,
she was already like, she couldn't come into the club. Sheila E. would watch us.
Wow. My gosh.
A lot of great experiences, man.
Oh man.
I don't think we have all night, so I'm gonna.
No, I mean it's a great way to to land this airplane.
I know there'll be more flights in the future.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Shit, man. Razon. I mean, thank you.
Well,
Thank you, man.
Thank you also, because to tell you the truth, Wolf, I haven't thought about any of this stuff in years, and now that I'm telling you, it's like I'm all reliving it.
You're reliving it. Yeah.
I feel so blessed and fortunate and lucky
My
to
gosh.
have all these things happen to me. I guess just being at the right time, right place at the right time, So
I know. And it's happened again in this podcast, right time, because
exactly.
because the last time you
maybe
had
last week I got dehydrated.
yeah, you wouldn't have been too
I wouldn't exactly.
too
I would have been
enthusiastic.
like, dude, when is this over? Give me some more
Yeah. So thank you very much, man. I mean, it's a pleasure to talk to you, and it's amazing to hear all those stories. And it's important that those stories are told. That's part of the reason why I have this podcast, so that
that's great.
it doesn't it doesn't become myth and legend. At least there's an actual reference now.
It pins it down to earth.
Yeah. It pins it down to earth. Exactly. Wow, that's a great way of saying it. So, thank you very much, Razon. WGRS Talk. Peace out.
Peace out, man. Thank you, Wolf.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch. We have to jam, man. When this
we do. I mean, we're practically
when this fucking thing is over. When everyone gets fucking inoculated, let's jam. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good night, sir.
Care.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.